I've talked about meditation. I've talked about the precepts and some of the fundamental teachings of Buddhism. In this section of these talks, I'm going to discuss a few of the problems that can arise in the early months, sometimes the early years of practicing meditation, and talk about some ways in which to approach these problems. In another section we'll follow this section, I'm going to talk about some of the further teachings of Buddhism, which are very essential to going deeply into meditation and Buddhist training. I'd like to begin this, what I think of as a troubleshooting section, with a little introduction. It has 3 simple points to it. All of these points have been covered in my initial talks. But as we'll see, they bear repetition. The first point is the most important of all, and that is that in doing meditation, it is important to trust your basic instinct. Not your emotional reactions to things, not your ideas or theories, but a quiet inner sense of what it is that is good to do and what it is that is not good to do, when it is good to do something, when it is not good to do something. You might think in a way this is putting the cart before the horse, because the whole purpose of meditation, when rightly understood, is to bring us much more deeply into touch with the basis of that instinct, which is our Buddha nature. But it is also the case, or perhaps it's better to say, and it is also the case, that right from the beginning, we have the Buddha nature, and we have good instincts if we'll just pay attention to them. So it's very important not to willfully, it's a very important word, not to willfully override our instinctive sense of what is good to do and when it is good to do it, what is not good to do and when it is not good to do it. It may seem a peculiar thing to say, but sometimes it's actually not good to meditate, to do formal meditation. Sometimes it's more important and more helpful to do something else. If you willfully do meditation when it's actually not good to meditate, you can create problems for yourself. I've done this, and it can create big problems. When I was first learning to meditate, I found a book and followed some instructions that weren't very helpful, and tried to do something which, at the very best thing I could say about it was a meditation, kind of meditation practice that one should never have done without the direct contact with a teacher who taught that practice and can guide you through it. And I actually drove myself temporarily, just really for about an hour, paranoid. When it got so bad that I realized, boy, I'm in trouble, then I followed my instinct and came out of it quickly. But I had to stop doing that. Now the meditation that I'm teaching is much safer, and if your head is saying, oh, I should be doing this, and something deeper inside you is saying, wait a minute, let's just be careful here. Then at least give that quiet voice, if it is a quiet voice, and it would be normally, give it a hearing. Pay attention to it. Similarly, trust your instinct as well as good guidance from a teacher on how to go about your meditation practice. Some problems that arise in meditation are actually caused by people who are very sincere, who are simply pushing too hard and not sufficiently patient. And if you do that, you can override some of the natural built-in safety mechanisms that basically render this meditation, when you're doing it properly, very, very safe. This leads me to my second point, and that is, in general, it's very important to not to lead a willfully immoderate and non-perceptual life. A serious practice of meditation does not go with the use of drugs. I'm not referring here to prescription medications. I'll talk about them in another part of this troubleshooting section. But it doesn't go with the use of drugs like marijuana. It doesn't go with the use of alcohol. It doesn't go with the use of any illegal drug, basically. It doesn't go with the misuse of prescription drugs. If you're going to do those things, don't do formal meditation. And I encourage you as soon as you can to stop doing those things. They're not good for you. The use of illegal drugs is mostly a kind of self-medication to try to deal with spiritual pain and sometimes physical pain as well. Meditation is a much better way to go about dealing with the pain. It's a root of acceptance. It's not just trying to block it. It's not trying to replace it with some kind of ecstatic, drug-induced, peaceful state. So if you're going to do one, don't do the other. If you're going to meditate, leave the drugs and the booze behind. If you're going to do drugs, then don't do the meditation. The combination of meditation and drugs and booze is a wicked combination, and we get in trouble. Similarly, it's important to be moderate in one's life, to be moderate in eating, to be moderate in sleeping, to be moderate in sexuality, to take the precepts seriously, to understand that in meditating you are working on the roots of greed, hate, and delusion, and that it is self-defeating and can be very problematical if you are trying to do two really different things at the same time. That is, through meditation you're trying to work on the roots of greed, hate, and delusion, and at the same time you are actually immoderately and willfully feeding the roots of greed, hate, and delusion by living a non-perceptual life. Eating and drinking moderately It does not mean you starve yourself. It means that you don't willfully overeat, take into your body things that aren't good for it in amounts that aren't good for it. You don't have to be excessive in the other direction of being overly concerned about your health either. That's not helpful either. The Buddha taught, as I've discussed in previous talks, the middle path, which is a path of moderation and basic good sense. When eating, enjoy food. When drinking, enjoy what you drink. When sleeping, enjoy sleeping. And just don't overdo it. The third point is, don't willfully meditate in isolation from a teacher and from other people with whom you can sometimes share meditation. So again, the important word is willfully. Some people live in areas where there simply are no other people around who they can meditate with, and they can't find a teacher locally. If you are in that situation and you are doing a serious practice of meditation, then get in touch with a teacher. Again, follow your instincts, find someone who's right for you. Get in touch with the teacher and correspond with that person and or go see that person periodically. When possible, meditate on a regular basis with other people who are doing the same practice. Again, because there aren't Buddhist teachers and Buddhist meditation groups all over the place, some people may not be able to find a group they can sit with regularly, but maybe they can go for a retreat once or twice a year, or every few months, or every month. It is not good to willfully meditate in isolation from others. Most of the time, most lay Buddhists do their meditation on their own, and that's not a problem. It's not good to train month after month, much less year after year, without being in contact with a teacher, without meditating at least some of the time with the wider Sangha, with people who are doing the same practice and following the same teaching. I say this not from personal experience, because I started out, I found my teacher and my Sangha just a short time after I began training when I was a very young man. But I say this from observation as a teacher over many years, that the people I've met who willfully do a meditation practice, any kind of meditation practice, in isolation from others, develop in a kind of a lopsided way. I've met people who did their meditation on their own for 10 years or more. And every person I've met who did that has been seriously stuck. Spiritually, and did not seem to be willing to come unstuck. So this is a real problem. I'm not the only one who cautions about this. Many Zen masters over many centuries have cautioned about this.